Hi, Aria. Hi, how are ya? Give me a, oop, give me a special gun, please. I want one, please. Nope. None for me's, please. How's it going? What do you say? Bullet sharks. 20 bullet sharks. Those are small baby boys or big buddy buckos. Either way, they count as a bullet shark. Bullet shark. What do we get? Smileys. Shops are going to be cheaper. Ooh. Yikes. Can I drop that? I can. Okay. This is a thing. We want to go to the bosses as fast as possible. If we're going to use that. Ooh, man. Hello. How's everybody doing today? I'm doing pretty well. The protests are still going on. Some places are actually seeing some change. Not remarkably fast, but you know, a lot of these systems have been in place for decades and decades and decades. So break them down. It's expected to take a little bit of time. I'm glad that things are happening at all. To be completely honest, it's like, I don't know. Jackie's been educating herself about a lot of this stuff, and it's like, it's kind of hard for me to watch her educate herself on this stuff because she's so caught off guard by how bad it is, right? And I don't want necessarily for her to have a negative point of view on the whole world and the whole system and the way that everything is functioning. Not because, you know, ignorance is bliss or anything like that, but because she's such a good-hearted person that she did not realize that so much of the world could be so vicious. And seeing a lot of it is I think pretty hard on her perception of the world at large. Like, she's getting depressed by all this stuff. She's getting really upset, and I think that's the point of the protests. People need to stop being able to pretend that everything is great, you know, like, because it's just not the case. But at the same time, I don't want her to grow to hate humanity. But I don't think that's what she's doing. Anyway, it's just like a personal take on this whole thing. Like, I hope that she can still. I hope that there's enough of this that restores her faith in humanity, or actually builds her faith in humanity. Ooh, look at this! I'm gonna take you out with your own gun. Try to think of a better way to say gun. There's not really. I mean, there's plenty of other ways to say gun, but better, I don't know about that. Oh, Smiley's revolver is actually so much better than Shade's. Coolness is great, but Smiley's revolver as a weapon is better, in my opinion. Well, you know, I'm glad to see that an impact is being had, you know? Like, I knew Jackie during the last Black Lives Matter protests, during Ferguson and all of that. I mean, we were living in Missouri when that happened, and it didn't really have much of an impact on her because it was kind of this distant thing. There's something happening to other people, and now, whoa, okay, oh man, and now that we're together, now that all of this is going on, it's kind of harder for her to not take it personally because of, you know, our marriage and everything, and you know, for the most part, that's very good that she's thinking about stuff that she could have continued to ignore if she wanted to. But it sucks that, you know, now potentially her worldview is that there are awful people in power, and those awful people are going to do everything they can to keep their power. Even if it means crushing communities, you know? I think it might be right here. I'm just gonna blank. Nope. But she's watching this Netflix documentary called 13th, about the 13th Amendment and the problems within it. And the systemic racism that's come from it. I haven't watched it yet, so I can't speak too much about it, but it seems to be having a pretty significant and pretty drastic impact on her. So she told me things like, there's a statistic, 1 in 3 black men in America. 1 out of every 3 black men in the United States is incarcerated. And it's like, come on, hit them. It's like a crazy number to think about. Black men account for 6% of the population, but account for 40.2 or something like that percent of the prison population. And a lot of conservatives, a lot of racists will either jokingly or seriously, ooh boy, that was close, will use that as proof of the fundamental inherent badness of black men, that there's nothing but wrongness in the in the community, and that's why they're so bad. That's why they're so so highly imprisonable. That's why, you know, they're just bad people, and that's what leads to the high incarceration rates. And anybody that knows about, anybody that's willing to think about systemic racism in any honest way knows that, of course, it comes from them being more highly targeted, more their communities under closer surveillance. They're like, this is a question I like to ask. So people, until pretty recently, people could be arrested for possession of marijuana, right? I like to ask people, how many of their white friends never were in possession of marijuana? The answer is like usually 0%. Like, not, you know, maybe a few super church-going people don't know anybody that's smoked weed, or most of their friends didn't smoke weed or something like that. But for the most part, the people I ask, they know someone who either has or currently does smoke weed, and they'll say, well, you know, that's kind of a victimless crime. That's not really bad behavior. But, you know, you look at the number of black men who are in prison for possession of weed, not just possession of any narcotic substance, even though, you know, these same people will have tried other stuff. They'll have tried cocaine, they'll have tried Molly, they'll have tried other people's prescription pills, etc., etc. It's understandable. It's like, it's part of growing up, having that experimentation. But when you show them that people are imprisoned for decades for that, and you show them that it's primarily minorities or the poor, they just kind of go like, yeah, okay, I mean, I can see that. But it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't, they'll still think, you know, bad things happen to bad people. If you break the law, you go to prison. But it's not that. It's not if you break the law you go to prison. You break the law if you are perceived as a criminal. And if you are a minority, you are very, very often inherently, oh man, that sucked, perceived as a criminal. And that's just like, anybody that really wants to have a discussion of that can easily see the way that information is presented is the problem. But most people don't want to. They just want to be like, well, those guys are bad. I'm done with them. They're bad guys. Bad guys go to jail. And that's the systemic part of systemic racism. It is inherent to the system that the narrative is constructed in such a way that certain people are perceived as socially problematic. You know, everybody knows that. Everybody that really thinks about it knows that. People who don't want to accept it will go on not accepting it. And there's no changing that in them. That's the really frustrating part, is that that statistic does enough to prove to them that black people are the problem, not the system. Otherwise, why is it just that community? It doesn't make sense. If it was I don't know. It's just like, it's so fucking obvious. But it's not funny. I laugh out of like frustration, I think. You know, that makes me think. Someone told me that people, evolutionary anthropologists or whatever, I don't know what you call it, the people who study the development of mankind, a lot of them believe that laughter is a fear response. I don't know how true this is or how much this is still believed these days, but at one point, you know, we thought laughter is a fear response. When things are uncomfortable, we laugh as a way to, as like a warning that something wrong, something out of the ordinary or expected is going on. Man, that's good, but you know, gotta do that now. Do I want to sell anything? I think I might still. I mean, 50 freaking casings is great. Do I want to sell anything? Yeah, we're not going to use this shell. Maybe we are. We'll be able to sell it later. We're not money starved right now. Amulets is what we want. We want amulets. I don't know, the humor or the laughter as fear response thing is something that's always been funny to me, because you get comedians who are telling all these jokes and stuff, and everybody's like cracking up. And it's, you know, jokes work best when they're when they're just unpredictable. You don't get the biggest laughs from, I mean, sometimes you do. Sometimes developing a routine is great, you know, people with catchphrases and things like that. But even then, the delivery, the timing of that has to kind of come in like a shocking or surprising way. Comedy is the greatest thing in the world, in my opinion, because it's 100% about subverting expectations. You are not a good comedian if all you're doing is what people expect you to do. And it's lovely because of that. Like, I love the subversion of expectations. And humor is a great place to find that. Oh, man, that sucks. But I don't know. Oh, I was talking about... I was laughing about how fucked up this situation is. That's why I got on that. Again, like, so I'm somebody who's... I'm talking about this a lot now, and I think a lot of people will think that it's like a fair weather conversation. Like, now that people are discussing it, here comes Rufus's problems with racial inequality. Out of nowhere, he's suddenly got an issue with the way the system works. I don't talk about this stuff a lot of the time because... That's the best way to say this. People don't care. People are more likely to label you... Ooh, that was close. label you as problematic for being too concerned with it. It's like veganism or something, right? You know how people like to make fun of vegans because they talk about how cruel it is to eat animals. You know, they'll be like, fucking vegans, why can't they bring up something else for once in a while? And they will. They bring up stuff all the time. But people like to pigeonhole. They like to pretend that because it's something they don't want to hear about, whenever they hear about it, that's all they hear about. And, you know, it's stupid, but I don't want to be pigeonholed as a guy who too frequently utilizes the race card. It's like, you've all heard that, oh, you're bringing up the race card, or like pussy pass denied, or anything like that. Like these situations where people basically don't want to hear that you have a problem with the system, because then they're going to decide that that's the only thing you care about is this one issue. You're going to be a one-trick pony. You're going to focus a little bit too heavily on the way that race plays out to everything. And I mean, dang, that sucks. Well, good thing we came to this when we still had all of our blanks. And I think the same thing too. I have definitely known black people who have leaned into this stuff way too heavily. It replaced their personality. It's kind of obnoxious, right? But they're not wrong. Like, oh Lord, vegans are not wrong. People upset with inherent systemic racism are not wrong. They're actually right, and they deserve more attention for what they're talking about. And it's a fucking shame that they are essentially made fun of for caring. It's like a disgusting way that all of us handle people who passionately care about something that is troubling to them. And I'm as guilty of it as anybody else is. Like, I don't know. So, okay. So yeah, if it feels like I'm talking about all this out of nowhere, just shut the fuck up about it. Like, you shut up about it, because it's not out of nowhere. It's the experiences of my life. Like, I know it's not great to tell people to shut up, especially not to shut the fuck up. But like, yes, I am talking about it because it's on it's something that is being discussed on a grand scale right now. But it's been something we should have been discussing for a long time. You know, I remember when when the Colin Kaepernick protests were going on, people would ask me like what I thought about those, and I was like, oh no, I think he's doing the absolute right thing. He's using a platform to discuss something that is fundamentally important to him. Yes, I do happen to agree with what he's saying. Oh man, that was my first time taking damage myself. And my second right afterwards. So that might make it seem like I'm a little more biased, but even still, his protest had a good cause, and was people were like, you shouldn't talk about this stuff at work. At work, you're a slave to your job. If you're an entertainer, you're there for me. You don't get to exist. And it's like, fuck you. like for real. It's like, fuck you, everybody that thinks that he should shut his mouth and play ball. Like, and everybody that supported him, awesome job, like putting your career on the line for something you believed in. That's something that's not going on enough right now. I don't know that one. A lot of people Quadrilateral shot become rectangular and travel. Rectangular shot become much larger and deal 50% more damage, but travel very slowly. Okay, cool. Cool. Kind of a little bit of the other benefit from each in the other. Dope. I'm okay with that. Oh, it's dark. The lighting's not great. I guess I've been doing a lot of these during the daytime. I didn't even think about the fact that I got the gas mask and I got the a poison weapon. That's always great. Okay, they're a lot slower, but they're stronger, right? Huh, I wonder how that's going to do against the boss. I should try that out. The knockback, it seems to be have the same combination of effects as the heavy lead or heavy bullet, excuse me. Where it pushes them back to such a degree that it might make it harder to deal damage. I don't know, dude. This world is like... Here's what I'm going to say about it, and it's what I genuinely feel. The world has been busted and broken, and now that brokenness is on full display. There's not anything about what's going on that is new. There's nothing about what's going on that's new. But what's going on right now has a huge amount of attention on it because people are tired of it. People are fed up. And that is fantastic. Like, I love seeing the systems questioned. Like, it sounds like a little like wake up sheeple kind of mentality to have, but it's not. It's ooh. That's a mirror. That's okay. I kind of thought about that wrong. I was thinking like that's a what do you call it? A curse removal. We don't have any curse, so that wouldn't make any sense. This guy's gonna be fun to handle. Whoop. What color is it? Green. Yeah, we'll definitely be back there, but not quite yet. I honestly still want guns. We have one crazy good damn it. One crazy good boss weapon. That's it. So now I need to find the shop before I go. Oh, I already found the shop. I do want to take two in here, and hopefully we won't use both of them. That thing doesn't passive reload. That's fucking weird. Maybe we have two. Let's see how this does. If it travels... Oh, fuck. Okay. It doesn't lose any damage, but its damage was never that great to begin with. It's looking... I mean, what else are you going to use it for, though? I like this synergy. This is great. Man, the lack of passive reload is really lame. Ooh, boy. Okay. Narrowly weaved our way through that. Wove? Weaved. Damn it. All right. Get out of here. That's an FOK. Okay. Ah, shit. You don't use keys. You don't use keys these days. Does Super Serum just make it bouncy? Doesn't feel like it's fucking jack shit for the damage. Okay, so this actually needs to go to this one, as weird as that is, considering how much more valuable the other one is. It's still sitting pretty, though. Beyond that, beyond the ongoing pandemic and the radical protesting that's happening, not much on a personal level is happening. Jackie and I went for a drive today, and it was pretty underwhelming. It started pouring pretty badly as we were out there, so we decided to turn back. We didn't actually finish the drive, so it was just like an hour and a half of going in one direction, or an hour and a half of total driving, going in one direction and then turning around and going in the other. Something like that. Maybe it was 2 hours. I don't know. But it was good. We listened to a big chunk of Lauren Lapkus and... what's her name? She's the star of the show, or she's the host of the show Nailed It. It was like a intentionally bad baking show. Like where they use bad bakers, non-professional bakers, to bake highly technically challenging recipes with not enough time to do it anyway. That's okay. Swiddly doo doodle doodle doo 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 doo. Natasha. I'm so fucking bad with names, man. I hate it. Can't think of her name. What the fuck is her name? Anyway, they're both really funny. They're watching through the Star Wars movies, all of them, for the first time in their life, and then they're discussing it. And Nicole Breyer, Nicole something. Nicole Breyer, sounds about right. But yeah, they're watching through all of them, and they fucking hate them. Like, they watched A New Hope, and now they're on, I think we were halfway through the episode about, Empire Strikes Back. And they don't, well, they hate them when they're watching them, and then they talk about them, and they're like, oh, I can kind of see why this has some value and stuff like that. But they're also doing the thing that a lot of people do, where they watch something pretty passively. They watch something with very limited engagement, and they're like, this thing is terrible. I don't know why anybody liked it. It came out in the 70s. Why isn't it keeping up with my lack of attention span? Like, I don't think they're, you know, it's an honest look at them, which is what's frustrating about it, because they'll be like, yeah, I was on my phone the whole time, but and then they'll be like, I had no idea what was going on. Who were these people? Why were they talking about this? This whole point was pointless. Why did this happen? Why did we spend so much time with these guys? And it's like, man, just like, there are answers to all those questions in the movies. Like, some of the stuff with Star Wars is about Mirror 3.5, okay. Is specifically about you gotta read elsewhere to figure out like the fucking midichlorians are, what are the Clone Wars, or you wait until a later movie to have that explained to you or whatever. It's like, it's there for you to find out later, because One of the things I tend to forget about the Star Wars movies is that they start in media res. They start with action going on, with a long history of conflict that has to be kind of explained in the action, which I think is fucking great, but I can understand how it could be totally frustrating for people who are just like, what the fuck's going on? Who are these people? What's a droid? They asked about 9 times what a droid was, and it was like, I know that that question is answered in them. I know that is like, that's something that's made very clear by the film itself. But like, I think a bit, oh, that's my friend. I think a bit of the podcast is supposed to be frustrating. Like, it feels like they want to impress upon the audience or the guest, the guest of the show, that they know nothing, and that it doesn't really work for them. And it's like, I get it. They're kind of, they're not really trolling, but they're doing a little bit of the old they're acting a little bit, maybe they're not acting, but they're intentionally a little bit less informed than is absolutely necessary, so that they can get these people who are passionate about it a little more worked up, you know? And like, so I was explaining to Jackie, like, you know, Star Wars was really important to me, and I think it's a great media franchise overall. Hey, Jesus Christ. I don't think that it's necessarily, at least at this point, it's not the huge honking big deal as it was when I was, you know, in middle school, basically. I guess I started watching the series when I was in elementary school on VHS. Like, I think one of the movies, like Return of the Jedi, yeah, that's the one that starts in Jabba the Hutt's, like, Den of Depravity or whatever. Return of the Jedi, I definitely remember taking off of TV, recording onto a blank VHS tape, and that is how I had a copy of Return of the Jedi. And that is a different world. People were much more patient at that time in human history. And even more so, oh boy. That's 4.5 just from that one thing. We would need the ability to steal. And then we would still be at 7. Doodly-doo, doodle-doo-doo. But, you know, that was like, I explained some of my reasoning behind liking it. And I think I want to explain some of that reasoning here. Star Wars is a series that has the ability to transport you to somewhere else. It's so, the greatest aspects of Star Wars, in my opinion, are not the special effects, the practical effects, even the moment-to-moment storytelling, the acting, the characters. There's a lot of stuff that's like good, but not mind-blowing, you know? Like, I think there's a ton of stuff in Star Wars in general, that is weaker than it needs to be, that I could understand people being frustrated with. But I think overall, there's the greatest, the thing that it does best is, ooh boy, is it creates a world in which you are transported there. And I know that sounds stupid. Oh, you really feel like you're in Star Wars. But like, it's a thought-provoking world with a thought-provoking mythology. Whoa! I didn't use a blank there. Thought-provoking, you know, political system. There's all this stuff that's like really crazily well fleshed out that, you know, you wouldn't get in like Guardians of the Galaxy or something like that. Like those things are just like jump in, have fun. And maybe that's better for the viewer. It's more immediately engaging, but it's not as transformative, I feel, in a lot of ways. It doesn't put you in this situation. What was always so fascinating to me about Star Wars in general was that sense of like it being a lived-in universe, you know, like, and that maybe leads to some of the confusion as to like what's a droid and what's a blah blah blah, like what's a, who are these tauntauns or whatever, like or what are these tauntauns or whatever, because like it doesn't necessarily take the time to explain that stuff to you. You have to pick it up as things are moving, and that was like always extremely thrilling to me, to just be transported into an ongoing event. Like, you know, like that's crazy cool. That's a lot of fun, and that's tricky to do well, and I think it does it extremely well, but it does ask something of the audience, and I think people don't want to have something asked of them a lot of the time. Yo. We shouldn't do it. That's a really hard one there. Dang. That was a hard one to pass up. Basically, I would have gone to 7. Even if I sold it, I would have gone to 7 curse, and then I would have had to deal with jammed bosses. And we have some protection, we just don't have... Our offense is actually the reason I don't want to go that high on the curse. Whatever, we'll make it up. And you know that, speaking again about Star Wars, like, it's pretty easy to poke holes in that outlook. Like, you know, why does Lord of the Rings have such appeal? And I think the answer is, a lot of the time, it's because it has such a complex backstory going on. Like, there's so much in the world of Middle Earth that... Is that a whole planet, or is that just part of the planet? I don't know. Anyway, there's so much in the... I haven't read the books yet, but there's so much in it that, you know, you can spend a ton of time just deciphering that. And the people who get the most enjoyment out of it are people who go into the backstory stuff, you know? They're the people who really invest in the world building. World building or universe building or whatever is like a big part of these things. And a lot of times it does take extra work to get there. And otherwise it might just seem like a bunch of random shit happening, which to some degree I can understand. But it's like, I think a lot of people will just consider Star Wars or Lord of the Rings boring because it's just stuff happening. And I think that that's like fundamentally unfair, because in stuff these days, if there's not explicit explanation with like people being like, this is the reason, not just explanation, exposition too. This is the reason these bad guys are mad right now. Like, then, you know, people will be like, I don't know what's going on. I don't understand why everybody's so upset. Dang. Oh, wait. Duh. Doug. Oh, and I had another one that actually could have put it out pretty easily. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Mm-hmm. Let's use this up. But, that's bothersome to me. And I know that it, like, I probably have said the exact same thing about certain media properties or whatever, where I'm like, I don't know, it just kind of feels like random shit's happening. And I'm wrong for that, you know, but it doesn't mean I'm going to go back and enjoy the property. So I get where people are coming from. I just, for this particular case, fucking hate it. Because it's something that when I was pretty young was very meaningful to me, and people just dismiss it outright because that's easier than thinking about it, easier than thinking about why the world works. And that's something that's like kind of funny to me about how the hosts of this show, after they talk to people about it, they're like, this is really, really interesting. And then they'll watch it and they'll be like, this is boring as fuck. Like, and it fully has to do with, you know, the reasoning behind their engagement. Oh, fuck. All those ideas, all the things the other people are taking from it are there in the universe of Star Wars. And since they're kind of getting a surface level, distracted, looking at cell phone kind of look at it, like, yeah, they're not going to get that. It's going to just be like, now here's a droid being sassy, and now here's a planet being blown up or stuff like that. Like, I don't know. So I got pretty worked up about it, which is like, I'm sure part of the whole thing. Let's just give it to our room clear. Oh man, I just don't need ammo very much. I need red ammo a lot. I don't need green ammo that much. And doodle-doodle-doodle. But you know, like that's again, I always have to admit that I know, there we go, I've mistreated franchises for similar reasons, and that's what's frustrating, is like not just franchises, maybe individual movies too. Maybe bands, maybe books, maybe a lot of things. I've kind of like taken a simplistic outlook of it and then said the whole thing's bad. The biggest, most egregious example of that will forever be the movie Signs. I don't know if I could get out my own ass about it, if I would like the movie Signs, but I know that I can't get my head out of my own ass about that movie, and it's like it's unfair to the movie because I can't give it a chance because of how stupid one aspect of the movie is. And say what you will, that's just like fundamentally unfair to the other 2.5 hours of that movie, or however long it is. I do think, though, to some degree, if the rest of it had made up for it, because I watched that movie without the expectation that it was going to be a problem. I think it just ended up still being a problem for me specifically, and I think for a lot of people, a lot of nitpickers, it's easy to nitpick to death, especially with movies with pretty big fandoms, you know. I've been listening to this guy, Sheepdog and Wolf, which I, as I say it, I'm pretty sure I talked about before. Let's give one of these first, and we'll switch over to this bad little boy. Let's get some more of these guys. Under the Flame. Under the Flames of War. Whoa! Ooh! Chicken, I appreciate it. Thank you for your service, chicken. Wow. I could have gone sideways. They're doing that karaoke thing they do at one of the houses next to mine. They really got the effects going on it this time. There's like, whoa, 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 echo pedals or something happening. But it's loud as fuck. It is way too loud, and I am not going to complain because... Who's that for? What's that going to do? Shit. I hate that I didn't get that thing now. Like, that sucks. But yeah, Sheepdog and Wolf is really fucking good. And I cannot stop. It's just bouncing around my skull non-stop. Oh. That is girl talk. There we go. There we go. Let's get out of here. So we got Helix bullets now, which kind of fucks some stuff up, but it kind of the opposite. Kind of makes some stuff better. We'll have to see. I wonder if this is picking up at all, because this is loud as shit, dog. I guess it's really obnoxiously loud. Damn, that was atrocious. Hey, we got it back. Okay. It's like, it's stupid how loud that is. And I know, old man. Oh, god damn. Oh, okay. Well, right. Falling in holes doesn't count as the other thing. There we go. Just waiting for him to catch on far. Wish those chickens are doubling. It's Saturday night, so like me being mad about it is pretty pathetic. So that's probably maybe that's another reason I'm not going to say anything about it. I've gotten very used to lockdown life. And you know, that world is slowly coming to an end, despite the fact that there's definitely going to be a loud, pronounced second wave, of which I will admit the protests are going to contribute, But again, like I'll say, if people are willing to risk their health and well-being for a cause that has been present for this country for way too long, they have my support. They have my support in many other ways. I've donated to multiple different organizations already, and like it is a bit more cowardly of an approach to helping. I'm not on the front lines getting pepper sprayed and tear gassed and so on and so forth, but I am fully committed to supporting the cause in other behind the scenes kind of ways. The bail bond groups are something that I think are just absolutely fantastic, and I'm so excited to see those springing up in so many different forms. I hope, here's the main hope that I have, that the people who contribute in person, on foot, to these protests do not have a criminal record afterward. Which, as fucked up as the situation is, I could easily see that being like a long-term punishment for doing the right thing. Because, you know, there are a lot of people who are still going to be upset, who are still going to be hateful towards those that contribute. You already see, like, crazy old people just basically losing their fucking shit. They can't believe that people would be protesting this. And like the old guy that assaulted a young girl holding a Black Lives Matter placard or sign. Like, physically grabbed her and then slammed his bicycle into somebody else because these people were protesting. God damn, it's so fucking loud. But, you know, it's like, oh, you fucking chickens, man. Sometimes, wow. Appreciate it. Do 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 do. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay. A couple of scary moments there. This is one of the most chaotic little roomlets I've ever taken part in. Hey, nice. Now fire's not an issue. Wax wings have synergies? Wax wings have synergies? Vulcan cannon gets knocked back. Don't know how useful that is. Don't know why. I would like... Oh. Didn't even think about that. But yeah, I would like this. So that's two things that are both going to make individual shots a little... Every time. Love it. Fucking love it. Gonna make individual shots a little bit less valuable, but increase the overall efficacy, proficiency of the weapons. So I'm about it. About it. I wish that, like, the use of other people's music didn't basically get your videos taken off of YouTube, because very often I would like to, like, just play a clip of the songs that are just bouncing around my skull that I've been listening to for like the past 4 or 5 days consistently. Like, that would be great. But you know, I don't think I don't care about the monetization of my stuff. I don't want my channel to get fucking turned off as I near 1,000 mark on these videos. Oh do 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 do. That was a good fight. Didn't even need all that freaking defense. Shit. We have one. We have one. Okay. So no matter what, next one from the thing goes to the thing. Next ammo goes to what's it called? So with weapons with a bunch of knockback and weapons that cause status effects, they are fundamentally benefited by scatter shot and the like. Like, it's great to deal more direct damage, but one of the things that's greatest about them is they don't lose most of their impact when their direct damage is cut down, is decreased, because most of their impact comes from 2 in a row. Comes from the later on effects God, flight's so good in this particular situation. Let's see what this looks like. I mean, it looks exactly like I thought it would, but it's kind of... I kind of expected it to maybe do more direct damage. It's kind of stupid because of that thing we just talked about. Oh, this karaoke crowd is really fucking bringing me down, man. Just to give you an example of how things are going in the protest right now. Today is the 6th of June. The armed forces, the reserve or the Coast Guard or whatever, I don't know which branch it is, has started firing pepper spray into the crowds in Seattle again. They decided that, like, they kind of had enough of not committing war crimes. And so they're back at it. Back at it again. The mayor of Seattle has issued a 30-day moratorium or something on using... I mean, I feel like I'm not using that word right, but basically a 30-day stay on using tear gas, because all it's doing is escalating the situation. But no, she doesn't have any control over it. The United States military using these devious means, throwing concussion grenades right into crowds of people and flashbangs and all this stuff onto American citizens. Ooh! Forever dare mentioning that they want brutality to end. Like, the looting has gone down significantly. The police brutality has gone up significantly. Like, it's weird, right? It's definitely not the looting that they were primarily concerned with. Damn. I would like to keep as many as possible of those things going. Things are a little bit chaotic. A little bit chaotic right now with within this game. I mean, within the world, obviously. But within this game as well. Screen coverage is probably way up there. I'm not sure the bit rate is going to be affected by it since I dropped... Okay, so that's something anybody that's been watching these might have noticed. I dropped the bit rate, or I dropped the resolution to 720p. I wanted to be able to keep the videos at 1080p since the only thing that really affects is my the length of time it takes to upload videos, but it's kind of, oh man, fuck, it's kind of one or the other with most of these streaming programs. I guess I could keep OBS and do videos there, but you know, we got all the counts going on and stuff like that, and it's just, I don't know. So anyway, the quality has probably gone down at least a little bit for most people. Maybe it's about the same. I know that, like, sometimes the YouTube videos I post look like much lower quality than they look in the recordings, and I don't know if that's an encoding thing or if it hasn't fully processed or anything like that, but I do know that a lot of the videos look worse on YouTube, for me at least, than they look on my computer. Whoa, shouldn't have gotten that close to that guy. Oh, come on. That's gonna suck right now. All of my gun, like I'm getting low on ammo for a lot of these. And the slowed down indirect killing is probably contributing some of that, because I'm finding myself more and more surrounded. Oh, you know what? Good point. Good point, me. Use the guns you don't use instead of just using the... Well, this one's got to be so much more powerful with all these extra bullets coming out. And it gets rid of those nasty little jams. Also, it's like it's constant damage without concern, because I don't... Oh my god. If I lose some of this ammo, I'm not taking it into the boss. Even if I was taking it into the boss, it would be 1 round per jammed version of the boss, but we're not at level... We're not at 7 levels of curse, so it doesn't actually matter. So just use it up. That's all I'm saying. This is a whole bunch of words to say use it up. Especially when it is most helpful. You know what? Ooh, those ones almost caught me off guard. I'm hitting that point with, so I do believe it happens more with helix bullets than scatter shot, where you hit a point where you start to really feel the decrease in damage output. But I think in this one in particular, it's a combination of that and not having a lot of straightforward damage anyway. That sucks. That's a big bad one. Because now I'm under the 2 blanks that I would have had in a normal situation. So, what's it called? Can't come soon enough. The boss. Or, I mean, it could come after some blanks are dropped. Maybe that'd be a fine amount of time to wait. Okay, actually out of ammo for that one. God damn it. You jackass bastards. Okay, so an LF is highly unlikely. This is the very first time in this entire run that I'm feeling like maybe the Full Metal Jacket wasn't the right choice, which means that it was the right choice. Overall. You know what I would have loved is to have gone for the rat and then had the ability to just leave the jacket on the first floor of the first room of this floor, pick it back up right before the boss, you know? Lose some freaking hearts or whatever, lose some armor, but keep. I don't think this is going to be a good weapon for this one. Oh, shit. Yeah. Let's just get in there and rip this guy apart. Come on, let me in there. I want to rip you apart. Let's actually try this. It's going to be loud. It's going to be 6 loud shots. I believe it's 6. Then... Oh, wow. Sorry, that was one of those moments where I had to just stare at the chicken. Stare at myself. Not. Ooh. I don't even know if I was shooting. Yeah, I think I was, but I was like, my sight line was right at the chickens there. There's so much going on. The chickens themselves are occupying a lot of the screen space, which is great, and I love it, honestly, because they're doing a lot of damage. Man, one bad roll. I shouldn't have rolled forward. I should have glued to the wall. I kind of assumed, and this is dumb to do ever. It's kind of a cowardice thing, but you should never assume. Does your little guy at the end always refer to your starting weapon? That's something I can think about, but never assume that you're going to get hit because of the situation, because I put myself in a dumber situation, a dumber position than I needed to be, because I had the thought, I'm probably going to get hit during this fight anyway. Why worry about it? Why worry about it? So little money. So good ol' runny. Anyway, goodbye, I love you.